The public's infatuation with dragons has resulted in a plethora of video games. Dragons will frequently appear as final bosses in games due to their enormous power and ability to breathe fire, providing excitement and dread. Over the years, we've seen various fascinating dragons with impressive patterns. Dragons are fictitious creatures, but they appear to be real in video games. These are some of the most well-known video games in which dragons can be found. These dragons are scary due to their size. The allure is pretty damn understandable for such scary but majestic creatures. There is no other game that compares to Dragon's Dogma. Many elements are familiar. Open world, companions, enormous monsters, and an interesting battle system. But no game has ever done a better job of tying them all together. Dragon's Dogma is actually greater than the sum of its parts, and that is a wonderful thing. But, of course, there are a lot of dragons in there. They're all a spectacle to fight, grasping your hand and dragging you through the skies as you seek for their heart. Grigori, on the other hand, is a true terror in his initial appearance, stealing your heart and sending you on a quest to fight him. His appearances are fleeting, but each one leaves you speechless. Elden Ring has taken the world by storm, smashing sales estimates and developing an open world with a fantastic fighting system that they've spent a decade perfecting. It's truly one of a kind. But there's one thing From Software can't seem to get away from: their adoration for dragons. Unlike Dark Souls, there are still plenty of dragons, although feeble offspring of the ancient dragons. Dragonlord Placidusax, on the other hand, resides in crumbling Fair Mazla, beyond the grasp of time. This two-headed dragon, unlike many others, finds it difficult to move and instead teleports about you like the personification of the storm. There's a reason they're known as the Dragonlord. In Dragon Age Inquisition, the High Dragons are a group of mature female dragons. They are one of the most elusive dragons in the Dragon Age series. High Dragons have the rating of Elite Boss, indicating that they are difficult to vanquish. Although High Dragons debuted in previous Dragon Age games, Dragon Age Inquisition features a larger range of them. Any opponent who enters a High Dragon's lair is attacked. The critically praised Super Mario Odyssey is a wild ride all the way to the finish. Odyssey's Ruined Kingdom's award-winning gameplay is topped off with the appearance of a massive dragon. This dragon looks great, showcasing the Nintendo Switch's capability. The decision to include a dragon boss at the end of Super Mario Odyssey was brilliant. This phase of the game might have been enhanced by making the boss fight longer and more difficult. Bowser is a Koopa turtle, not a dragon, contrary to common perception. Shenron, a well-known dragon, is the all-powerful dragon capable of granting wishes to the Dragon Ball characters. The show concentrates around collecting the Dragon Balls in one way or another, despite the fact that there is a lot of drama and action in it. It is always the villains that strive to gain power from it, while the protagonists try to keep it sacrosanct. Occasionally, the show's heroes gather them to wish their pals a speedy recovery. Shenron can grant practically any wish with only a few exceptions, such as wishing the same one twice, or attempting to resurrect someone who has been dead for more than a year. Final Fantasy is one of the most well-known video game franchises, and it is still going strong. Final Fantasy XIV is performing quite well, and Stranger of Paradise demonstrates a willingness to try new things. Despite how different each Final Fantasy is from the one before it, summons are the one thing you can count on returning. And who is more famous than Bahamut as a summoner? They've taken on many different shapes, including a typical dragon, a dragon that can stand more erect, and even a vengeful deity in dragon armor. They're usually the most powerful summon, and Bahamut is well aware of this. They brag as if they're superior to everyone, and they're a bad sign for any adversary. The Spyro Reignited trilogy is the greatest method to enjoy the Spyro trilogy. The game has been completely rebuilt from the ground up, resulting in incredible levels of intricacy and enhanced gameplay. In comparison to today's games, classic 3D platform video games from the 1990s and early 2000s remain unrivaled. Spyro the Dragon was one of the best 3D platform games, alongside Super Mario 64, Donkey Kong 64, Tomb Raider, and Ratchet & Clank. Spyro is maybe the most well-known dragon in video games. Despite his popularity, the little purple dragon is tainted by his link with Activision's treatment of its employees. Many of us recall our first meeting with Ridley in the original Metroid for the NES. Although it was smaller than later iterations, the game was nonetheless enjoyable. Later Metroid games, such as Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, featured a far more detailed representation of Ridley. Ridley isn't your typical dragon because it's from outer space. In the Metroid and Super Smash Bros. Games, Ridley is a recurring adversary. Ridley, along with Kraid, is a space pirate in Metroid, and he is a playable character in Super Smash Bros. As things stand, it's difficult to imagine a world without Dark Souls. Modern gaming is inextricably linked to the way the world expanded, how it conveyed its tale, and, of course, its fantastic fighting. The sight of its rare, but dangerous dragons, on the other hand, never fails to terrify. True, some of the most famous, such as the Hellkite wyvern that guards the undead Berg's Bridge, are classified as dragons. They are, nevertheless, wyverns. Kalameet from Artorias of the Abyss, on the other hand, is a genuine dragon who has been corrupted by the Abyss. They're terrifying to face, because they can easily use screeching telekinesis, making them completely unpredictable. The Witcher is a series that does not require an introduction. None are as well loved as CD Projekt Red's own games, from the cherished original books to the acclaimed Netflix series. They were a breath of fresh air, effortlessly translating the essence of the books into gameplay, despite the initial game's flaws. However, The Witcher 2 was a huge hit. You may or may not have met Saskia properly, depending on your choices. And perhaps the image reveals it, but dragons in The Witcher are shapeshifters who are also a dying breed. Saskia is one of the few survivors, and she defends her people by taking on the form of a dragon. It has a noble purpose rather than being a cruel beast by nature. The Ender Dragon is the game's final and first boss, appearing in a location known as the End. Slaying the Ender Dragon usually necessitates the use of powerful diamond weaponry. One of the most fascinating elements of Minecraft is the Ender Dragon, which can be generated with mods in creative mode. This dragon can be seen in all difficulty modes, however it cannot harm players in peaceful mode. Because of its influence and destructive power in Minecraft, the most popular video game of all time, the Ender Dragon is a well-known dragon in video games. The events of the Elder Scrolls V. Skyrim were heavily influenced by a recurring dragon. Despite the fact that the endgame in Skyrim lasts forever since quests regenerate and players can level up indefinitely, there is a primary story with a ferocious dragon at the end. Alduin is a red-eyed ancient dragon. Many Skyrim residents believed Alduin was a fool for seeking to be worshipped. He would have lived if he had remained the world eater and not been power-hungry. Alduin is deserving of the #1 rank since he is a dragon in Skyrim, an influential role-playing game.